Hi guys, welcome back. And first of all, I want to apologize for my hiccups. I don't know what's wrong with me, but anyway, my apologies. So if I hiccup while I'm speaking, please bear with me. Anyway, what do we have here? We have part four. We have part four of the review, which covers the Mayor Audio CKLVX D62, covers the Pula 114 ANVIL, and covers the Juzear 81T. And I've selected a few IEMs. I mean, I could have added a few more yet to the equation, but I tried keeping the IEMs to things that, first of all, are known by many of us, and secondly, are also kind of similar in their configuration. That doesn't mean I didn't hear other things, like for example the binary Dyna Quattro. I actually did the comparison of the Dyna Quattro with these IEMs. I also had here the 61T, and I compared it with the rest of all of these IEMs, but I ultimately decided on these ones. Although, if you guys do want me to talk about some other particular IEM, that if I have it, I will more than gladly throw it into the equation. I apologize for not having still reviewed the Maggot T Pro, but I still haven't been able to acquire it. The moment I do acquire it, I will definitely be comparing it and throwing it into this equation. So what do I have here? I've got here the DaVinci. $299 is the usual price. You can now get it during the upcoming sales at around $240, which is a nice price. I've got here as well the Audio PDM7. This is $279, a 1+6. The DaVinci, as we know, is a 2DD plus 4 BAs, two different size DDs, a 10 and an 8. And keep that in mind because there's another IEM here. We just got a similar configuration. Next to that, I've got the IVipQ V12, Conch V12, 2+6. The DDs are a 10 and a 6mm, so again, a alternative configuration of dual DDs. And that's now available during the sales at around $160, which is a hell of a deal. Next to that, the Juzear, the 81T, roughly $235, 1+8. Next to that, the SoundDrive SR9. My apologies, guys. I really apologize. The SR9, also $299, and also a 1+8. And then in this front row here, I've got the Zigat Australia, $299, a 1+4. The SimGot SM4, the Supermix 4, roughly $140. A four driver configuration, DD, BA, piezo, and a microplanar, and these two are here because of the fact that they did acquire a certain amount of popularity over the year. Next to that, the Pula ANVIL, a 114, so a 1 DD, 4 BAs, and 1 bone conduction. Next to that, the Performer 5+2, so 2 DDs, 6mm, 4 BAs, and 1 piezo. 1 planar, microplanar. And finally, the Mayor Audio CKLVX D62. Also 2 DDs, a 10 and an 8, and a 6 BAs. So a configuration which is in everything very similar to the Duno DaVinci. Anyway, guys, I've talked in the individual parts about these IEMs in a little bit more detail. So I'm going to try and keep this nice and simple and straight to the point. I guess the best way to start here is probably with the two 1+8s, the Juzear 81T, okay, and the SoundDrive, the SR9. Obviously, there's a substantial price difference. I mean, substantial, $60, give or take, price difference between the two of them. Build is excellent in both cases, although I have to say that the 81T does look the part, does look the business. It does also bring a nicer cable than the SoundDrive. nicer accessories package than the sound drive. I mean, it's not a huge day and night difference, but it is a little bit better equipped. Build of the IM is about equal. It's just the beauty of the IM itself. Accessories, I would give it as well to the Juzear 81T. In terms of sound, this is a warmer type of sound where, you know, when you look at the graph, you'll think, oh my god, this is going to have loads of energy up top. And it does have a substantial amount of energy up top, mind you. But, you know, when I compare it with the 81T with its similar configuration of 1+8, I have to say that the I have to say, my guys, please forgive me. I have to say that the 81T is probably the more sensible choice, let's say. Why? Because the sound just seems more capable across the board. You know, it's a little bit more capable of playing a wider variety of genres. There's a better ability to bring out certain details in songs that, not that the sound drive isn't capable of doing it, it also can do it. But for example, you listen to in a Sentimental Mood by Cecile Norby. You listen to it on the 81T, and the 81T just does it a little bit in a more polished manner. I mean, it is overall a just slightly better IE. It is. I mean, there's more elegance in the way that it plays. Yes, it's not all, it's not all perfect across the board. I mean, the fact that this does have the SR9 a slightly more, let's say, subdued presentation of the mids, upper mids and treble, and the bass does come out a little bit more. It does make the B8 timbre be a little bit more, let's say, unnoticeable. Something that on the 81T you can pick up on it, and if and with certain songs you'll notice it. For example, Twilight by Brian Simpson, you do notice that the let's say the twinklies and the sparklies here are just a little bit more let's say colored, okay, while on the SR9 they come across a little bit more natural. But as I said, I mean, looking at, me personally, I like both IEMs. If I can only choose one, I would choose the 81T due to its bigger versatility, wider genre capability, and also, it offering a nicer package overall. Which is of the two is the IEM that I think more people will be satisfied with or will like more. I think as well the 81T. I think the 81T will please a wider crowd of people. Okay, so please don't take this so much as me bashing the SR9, because I'm not bashing the SR9. I'm just stating that there is a $60 price difference, and when you consider what the performance of one and the performance of the other, they are both capable, but this one just is more elegant. So let's get these two here out of the way now. Let's talk now. My apologies. Let's talk about now the 2DDs, the 6BAs, or if you want to put it that way, 2DD batch, which is these ones here. Okay, so what am I talking about? I'm talking about obviously the CKLVX, the D62, the Da Vinci, the PDM7, and the IVipQ V12. The most V-shaped. It's fun, but the most V-shaped is the PDM7. It's got a nice crazy bass, but ultimately it's the most V-shaped, the most colored. So it's the one that lacks in the department of being versatile, especially with female vocals. So straight away, it's not that it loses, but it's the one that will be the less audiophile capable. Okay. The V12 from IVipQ is the most neutral, probably the most neutral of all of these IEMs here, actually. I actually would say the V12 and the Performer 5+2 are the two most neutral sounding IEMs. What that means is that you have a sound which is very unfatiguing. It's a very mature tuning, but it will lack some engagement with certain genres, and people might say, oh, okay, it's a little bit boring. And when you compare it, for example, with the D62, the D62 does sound a little bit more lively, does sound more get up and go. So you know, it does edge it out. Now, yes, we're talking basically the same sort of price. I mean, this is 179, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just confirm here. Give me a second. CKLVX D62. No, actually, my apologies. The D62 actually is roughly $240. So a price that is oh, my apologies, guys. I really apologize. So price which is a little bit more expensive than the V12. V12 is under normal circumstances. The V12 normally goes for around $209. However, with the current sales that you know are about to start, the truth is, you know, you can pick up the V12 there for roughly $160. And at $160, if what you want is a neutral type sound, then yes, it does let's say get our attention. Okay, so compare it with the D62. Again, I would say the D62 ends up being the more user-friendly IM that most people like, because of that fact, because of the fact that, you know, it's more versatile. It will play more genres, especially genres which are a little bit more energetic, with a little bit more of life. Okay, it will definitely benefit in terms of the vocal. It will definitely be a little bit more lively here. Not that the vocals on the V12 are by any means done in a deficient manner. No, it's just that the D62 is a relaxed IM. That's it. Okay, and then the Duno, the Da Vinci. The Da Vinci now can be had during the sale, the upcoming sales as well, for a slightly reduced price. We're talking about $250, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just once again confirm. Yeah, $260, so down $40, which approximates its price to the D62. And I mean, I'll be very frank. The Duno is a better IM. Is it a substantially better IM? No, it does things with more elegance. And what do I mean? It means that the bass is just that little extra more polished. It's a little bit more. It's a quicker bass, better executed bass, and the fact that they are using as well the second DD, much like they're doing here, to help out the mids, the mid bass and the mids. The execution there on the Da Vinci is just that little extra better. That enables also for the BAs to not be pushed in a point where you can be then hindered by problems with BA timbre and so on and so forth. So the overall integration and coherency matching between all of the drivers is just superior in the Duno than it is here. Mind you, having said that, I'm not by any means saying that the Meyer Audio D62 hasn't done a good job in that coherence. The drivers, it's done a very, very good job, mind you. I would even say that in occasions it actually surpasses the 81T. You know, the fact that you have to match a single DD with 8 BAs, and here, yes, okay, it's 6 BAs and 2 DDs, but one of the DDs, because it's covering the mids, it enables that passage of the frequency from bass to then the mids, upper mids, and treble to be done in a smoother manner, which is more polished and less prone to that BA tonality that there on the 81T you can pick up on it a little bit more. So of this batch here, the Duno is the best one. Okay, I'm not going to deny it. This one, the PDM7, you know, it's not a bad IM, but it's not on the same league, especially when you take the consideration its price. If it was, let's say, $200 or $190, then maybe we could make a certain valid argument for it to be justified. And the V12 at the price that you can now pick it up, you know, like I said, you can't really argue. Okay, so let's put things like this. And then finally, I've got this front batch here, which the one that does stand out in terms of being more simple in its configuration is the Australia. So it's a 1+4. The SIM got 4 drivers, this 3 drivers, this 3 drivers. I'll be very straight to the point. The one that ticks the most right boxes, and it's not the differences are not huge, is the ANVIL, and I'll explain. The SM4, and I've always been a fan of the SM4. When you consider its price and when you consider the performance that it's capable of doing, if you choose your tips carefully and if you choose your source carefully, you will be very, very impressed. And the reality is, in many songs, it was keeping up with the ANVIL very nicely. It was keeping up with the Performer 5+2 and even superseding the 5+2, and also keeping up quite nicely, yeah, with the Australian. But ultimately, you know, the fact that you are a microplaner and a PZT, although it works for it in terms of its detailed retrieval and twinklies and sparklers and all of that, it kind of also works against it by making it the one that's the most prone to be perhaps just not as well matched between the drivers, that driver coherency that I was talking about, and the one that can maybe lead to a little bit more fatigue when, you know, you push the volume a little bit more. Having said that, you know, you can't really fault it too much because it is after all $140. My apologies. The Pula is 190, and that's the main thing that really starts making it a very solid choice, because it doesn't have a price which crosses that $200 price bracket, but it offers a performance which is really impressive. The Performer 5+2, as you guys know, I like it. I think it's a very nice sounding IM, but it's very neutral sounding. So if you want a neutral presentation, definitely this is a solid choice. Between this and, for example, the V12, this is still a slightly more polished IM than the V12. It's got a little bit more life than the V12, so it makes sense to pay the extra. Well, when they are in the normal price, they cost basically the same thing. It makes sense to buy it. Now, during the sales, I believe the 5+2 is also going to have a little bit of a discount. Let me just check here quickly. But even if it doesn't have the discount, the truth is this: it is a solid IM. I like it, and you know, there's no question there. The Australia has got phenomenal bass. And the integration of the bass into the mids and then into the treble has been flawlessly done, especially when you consider it's just a 1+4. So, you know, kudos to Ziget, kudos as well to Jay for having helped out in the tuning there and making sure that they did what he wanted. And this, as I mentioned when I did the review, this is a sort of product that I think needs to exist more. Products that are well tuned instead of just churning out one after the other. Take your time to tune things in a way that they are properly done, and that's what this is. It's got insanely good bass. It's quick, it's dynamic, it's speedy, it's clean, it does everything right. The mids, fantastic. Male and female vocals come across beautiful. Upper mids, treble, everything fine. It's $299, and that's its biggest obstacle when you then compare it with the ANVIL. Because the ANVIL does, I would say, basically the same thing as the Australia does. And mind you, this is with my music library and listening to with my ears, with my limitations. So please keep that in mind. This is what my ears hear. This is what my ears perceive. The ANVIL, in my opinion, does very much what the Australia is capable of doing. Excuse me. Maybe ultimately the bass is not as deep as on the Australia, I agree. But in terms of that bone conduction, or that quasi-bone conduction doing its thing, yes, you do notice that it does do its thing. You do notice it's not a huge thing like I've mentioned when I did the review, the part just referring only to the Pula. It's not that day and night thing, no. but you do notice, you can pick up on the fact that the bone conduction does clean up the bass and makes it sound dynamic and clean and impactful. So I think in terms of the bass, it loses out to not being as deep or as reaching down low as well as the Australia does, but it's keeping up, in my opinion, very well, and perhaps even superseding the balance of the mids, upper mids and treble, more so than in the Australia, where some people maybe complained that it was maybe a little bit too bright, a little bit too, you know, energetic. So ultimately, out of these four here, I would say that yes, the SIM card is a good IEM, but you know, the price is what it has going against it in terms of pure performance. It's behind. It's not on the same league as these other three. So I would say this one is kind of taken away out of the top three IEMs. Let's put it that way. There's 10 IEMs here. I would like to attribute a top three, an ultimate top three. Well, one of the places you already know what it's going to be, and it's the DaVinci. I've liked it from day one. I think it is a phenomenal IEM, period, end of story. Dunu showed its colors there, doing its work really well, and that's that. The second one, I think you've probably already guessed it by now, and I think it's not that trust me, it was a very hard decision, and I took my time to do this part because of that. I personally like the 5+2 a lot. I really think the 5+2 is very, very good. Very, very good. I'm now thinking about what you guys will probably like more. And I think the ANVIL will be the one that will satisfy the most people. And because of that, ANVIL is the second, the IEM in that top three. Oops, guys, my apologies. And I'm not really going to say, yeah, 1, 2, 3. Just top three. Okay, let's just leave it at top three, because the differences then are also not monumental between each other. You pick up on them, yes, especially because over there on the DaVinci, it's got that now meta type of tuning. So you can pick up, you know, once you've listened so long, like I have been listening to these IEMs, especially the ones that really stand out to me, I can identify them. So the ANVIL is the second one out of this whole group here, of this that will be part of that top three. And the third place that one was a really tough one, because and if you guys have been paying attention, you know exactly what I'm going to say. There are three IEMs which are the ones that qualify themselves for the top three spot. The CKLVX, the 5+2, and the Australia. The Australia straight away gets taken out of the equation of the battle because the price is just substantially higher than these two. That's the reality. It's $60 to $70 more expensive. So however much I like the Australia, and I think it's a capable IEM, it just gets taken out. On the other hand as well, it's maybe not an entirely fair comparison, because it's the 1+4. It's the simplest configuration here, and just the fact that it's being the simplest configuration, it's being able to keep up and supersede a lot of the other IEMs here, which have got a lot more internal parts. I think that's already a pretty good showing. Okay, that leaves us here with then the let's just put things here a little bit more. That leaves us then here with the 5+2 and the CKLVX, the D62. And you will be asking, oh, but Tony, what about then the 81T? Well, that's the next one in the equation. But what I'm trying to do here, and if you've been paying a little bit of attention, I think you really will have understood. I'm trying to offer you here three distinct styles. This has got one style of sound, the DaVinci. The Pula's got another style of sound. This is another style, more neutral. The CKLVX approximates itself a lot there to the Pula. So to the Pula, sorry, yes, to the ANVIL, to the Pula. So I'm gonna give the third spot with a very, very close, then fourth and fifth. I'm gonna give the third spot to the iFull. With this being a very, I would say that these two actually come in fourth place, the 81T and the CKLVX. And why? Because here ultimately the choice will be, they cost the same money, but ultimately here the choice will be dictated by your ears. This will probably give you a slightly more organic and better coherency matching of the drivers, while this will be probably just a little bit more technically capable, but at the cost as well of you picking up on that BA timbre. Those two factors obviously will be very much affected by your ears, what you like listening to, what you have as sources. But these two, I would say, are probably the fourth placed IEMs, with a very minor difference to the Performer 5+2, the Pula, and then the DaVinci. In terms of value, if I have to look at these, which is the best value for money, the Pula. Guys, it's as simple as that. I mean, I love the DaVinci, but this is, under normal circumstances, a $300 IEM. This is a $190 IEM, you know. So, you know, when you're confronted with the facts in this manner, you know, this is $190. End of story. Period. You know, it's $100 less. These are both 240. This is about 220. You know, it's the best value. It's the one that ultimately just ticks the most right boxes. Excellent value for money. Plays phenomenally well. You know, oh, but the bone conduction is not a true bone conduction, and does it this and does it that. Guys, this is about the music and how it sounds in your ears. And the truth is this: I put this in my ears and it sounds fantastic. End of story. As does the DaVinci, as does the D62, as does the 81T, as does the 5+2, as does the Australia. They all sound very good in their own particular and specific manner. But of course, there are those ones that you just like more, that you just, you know, you just gel more with them, you just vibe more with them. And those IEMs are, like I mentioned, for me personally, DaVinci, Pula, and 5+2. With these two, like I said, and I'll repeat again, with these two coming very close to the 5+2, really very close. I mean, the differences between these IEMs are minor. It's just a question of, putting the price aside, it's just a question of how capable they are in terms of their genres, you know, the driver coherency. Or is that driver coherency? Do you differentiate between the drivers, or do they come across as just one? And for me, the other thing that I also like, and I use it very much as a deciding factor, is the timbre and the tonality. And I absolutely adore the timbre and the tonality there. I like very much as well the timbre and tonality on the ANVIL. I would say, and this is actually going to be an interesting one, I would say that I actually like the timbre and tonality on the D62 just even slightly better than I do on the P5+2, the P5+2. The timbre and tonality of the 81T is actually the one that's the least good in this batch here. The Australia, the timbre and tonality is phenomenal. I mean, really, really good. And then the other ones, they're fine as well. It's not that they are very off, but these are the ones that truly stand out. All right, guys. Once again, please, my apologies. I was gonna do the graphs following now the review, but I'm gonna try and do them tomorrow to see if I'm not hiccuping myself to death here, and you guys don't have to make fun of me and put up with this. And then when I show you the graphs, you guys can then have a better idea of all that I was mentioning to you now. All right. Anyway, as always, like and subscribe. If there's any questions, please feel free to let me know. And I hope I was able to shed some light and clarify any doubts that you guys might have. All right. You take care now. Bye-bye.